Good morning, everyone. Again, how many of you are familiar with the term human trafficking? Okay, well, actually, before that, I did not introduce myself. So, good morning, everyone. I am Dr. Jonette Brooks George. I am a university professor. I have been in education for over 17 years. I've taught middle school, elementary, high school, and university. I am the principal consultant at Unmute Yourself Incorporated. We are a violence disruption agency. We work with survivors of human trafficking, sexual assault, domestic violence, community gun violence, and people who have experienced suicide and suicide ideation. So our work is focused on awareness, advocacy, and activism. So today, this is an awareness component of the work that we do. We go out in the community and we educate individuals about what human trafficking is, what it looks like, what the red flags are, and how to intervene if there's a situation of human trafficking. So, how many of you are familiar with the term? Come on. One person, two, three, four, five. I gotta poke and prod to get some assistance. Okay, we can work it out. We got an hour together. So, does anybody know what number Florida ranks in the state? In the nation, sorry. Anyone have an idea? Why is my Florida is number 3 in the nation. And guess where our county is? Very good, close. Well, Broward is 3. Miami is 1. Miami and Orlando are fighting for 1. Palm Beach is 2. And why is my... there we go. Okay, so this just happened. Do we have sound? Okay, why is it not playing? Mm-mm. It's not that. It's the slide is not playing, which is weird. Not playing. Let me get out of the slideshow. Sorry about that, guys.
Now at 10, a migrant smuggling operation busted. Coral Gables police say they stopped a U-Haul van filled with migrants, mostly from China. Good evening, I'm Elliot Rodriguez. This all started when a witness reported seeing a woman being forced into a car. CBS News Miami's Chelsea Jones is live in Coral Gables with more.
And y'all watch the news? No? Okay.
And Elliot, what that witness saw was only the beginning of this story. And tonight the question still remains, is this a case of human trafficking, illegal smuggling, or both? And tonight authorities are still trying to iron those details out. It all came to a head here on Lejeune Road in Coral Gables. The scene so massive, residents couldn't even get home. After a doctor's appointment came back and you couldn't get down the shaft. It started around 9:30 Friday morning. Coral Gables police say they were called in reference to what a resident believed was a crime.
Am I blocking anybody? Okay.
Seen here on a tow truck are the 2 vehicles at the center of the investigation. A U-Haul van and a Toyota Corolla. In the back of that van
revealed 21 predominantly Chinese nationals.
Police say there were no children. This sparked a multi-agency effort. Agents from Homeland Security, Customs and Border Control, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, and Coral Gables each responded to the scene. This is Mason, Hammock Park, and Marina, which is about 3 miles from where those individuals were picked up. And Coral Gables police believe they may have arrived by water. Police believe the migrants were then picked up and loaded into these vehicles, but they didn't get far.
Looked like a female handcuffed on the side of the van. They had a male cuffed at the front of the van.
As for the alleged abduction,
whether the woman that was observed possibly being abducted was trying to escape the persons that were bringing her in is still under investigation.
And at this hour, all the migrants recovered in this incident are in the custody of Border Patrol, and this investigation does continue. Live in Coral Gables, I'm Chelsea Jones, CBS News, Miami.
So, how many know where Coral Gables is? How many of you ever been to Coral Gables? Okay. It's a pain to get there anyways. The traffic is horrible. It's right here in Miami. That's why I didn't play. It's right here in Miami, which is neighbor city south of us. And what happened with that case was it was a case of human trafficking, and the type was migrant smuggling. Okay? So when we hear about human trafficking, many of us know the term as sex trafficking, right? That's what we hear about. How many of you watched the movie Taken? Oh, by the way, I have 4 beautiful gift cards. So for those who participate, you might get something. So maybe that's an incentive for you to wake up and join in. Okay? So how many of you watched the movie Taken? Liam Neeson? Okay, that's fine. That's fine. You watch different movies than I watch. So the movie shows human trafficking, the sex trafficking type of human trafficking. Anywho, human trafficking involves 3 main key things: force, fraud, and coercion. Force has to be involved, fraud has to be involved, and there has to be coercion. And we're going to break down those terms for you. And the reason for the force, fraud, and coercion is to obtain labor or commercial sex. Meaning, I'm going to force you to work for nothing or force you to engage in sex for nothing. The money that comes from the work that you do or the sex that you perform goes to the person who is trafficking you. We're going to get into more detail. So, the crime of human trafficking is based on exploitation, point blank, period. Any form of exploitation that occurs in the system of labor or sex or any type of services that you're being exploited in, it is a type of human trafficking. We're going to go through some more of those in a few. Now, who can be victims? Anyone. It doesn't matter age, it doesn't matter size, it doesn't matter gender, it does not matter your ethnicity or how rich or how poor you are. Yes, the people who tend to be in under-resourced communities are at a higher risk for being trafficked, but you can be trafficked no matter what side of town you live on. So you can live out west in the nice mansions, or you can live, in some areas of our county where you're in the projects, you're still susceptible. So the tools, we talked about force. Force can be physical force, and it can be a psychological force. Anybody understand what I mean with psychological force? Go ahead. Like in your head? Yes, exactly. You're so convinced that there's no way out that you stay in the situation. Thank you for participating, right? And then we know force as in you're shoving, pushing, you're holding them back. Coercion is the stern level, strict level, high level, convincing you that this is the way to go. So you're saying no, and they're telling you yes, and in some cases they're threatening you. Okay, so you have to do this because if you don't do this, I'm going to kill your family. I'm going to do this to your mother. I'm going to do this to you, right? Like blackmailing, somewhat like blackmailing. Very good. It's coercion. And fraud. You know what fraud is, right? Something that is basically a lie, pretending to be one thing when it's something else. So you applied for a job as a model. And when you get there, you might be able to do 1 or 2 photo shoots. And then soon after, you're traveling to another activity and you're taken away from your community and never returned, right? So that's an example of fraud. And we'll go into some other types of fraud that exist. So we have many types of human trafficking. We have sex trafficking, which most people are familiar with. We have labor trafficking, which is individuals that are forced to work and they're not getting paid. They're on the farms. Has anybody been to Fort Myers? Okay, good. On the way to Fort Myers, you'll see an exit. It's called Immokalee. If you pull off, yes, it's the farm country in South Florida. So we see a lot of labor trafficking occurring in that region where individuals are working. For instance, one of the things that they had them doing is, the really long school buses? Most of you ride them to school, right? The super long school buses, they gut the school bus. There are no seats in it, just the driver's seat. And they're expected to fill that with watermelons for $80. $80. I'm giving you an example of labor trafficking that happens in Immokalee, right? So you're getting paid to fill, how many days do you think is going to take you to fill that one school bus by yourself with watermelons? 2 to 3 days, right? In the hot sun. Because they're not easy to lift. You have no tools. You're lifting them, you're picking them, you're lifting them by hand and taking them over and filling the bus. So it takes you 3 days or so to fill a bus for $80. And guess where you live? They provide you room and board. That's what they say when they hire you. But you're actually in a 4-wall room, no bathroom, no bed, no nothing. That's room and board. And they don't provide you food. It's worse than prison. It's like it's called modern day slavery, right? So we see labor trafficking happening. Child trafficking. We see a lot of that where children are being brought, and we're going to go into more detail in the next slide. Children are kidnapped and brought over to individuals who want to adopt kids or babies. We have that happening. We have organ trafficking. We're seeing a lot of that at the border right now, at the border, the Mexican border. We have a lot of people who are being told, well, you have 2 kidneys, let's give us one, and I give you some money to help you get across the border. And they never come back. They disappear, right? And what has been found is that these individuals have been victimized in the way of organ trafficking. Surrogacy exploitation, which is women who are already being exploited for sex trafficking. They get pregnant and their babies are taken and shipped over to the United States for people who don't want to go through the adoption process. Then we have forced marriage. We have that in many other, we don't have that so much in the United States, we have it in other countries, and it's usually children being forced to be married to older men in these regions, and that's a form of trafficking. Ritual exploitation, debt bondage, illegal adoption, and so forth. We'll go through the slides. So, sex trafficking. We have commercial sex trafficking, sexploitation. So you are out there working, selling your body, whether you're a stripper or you're an escort. There are many strippers that are part of trafficking rings. They're not freely deciding to go and do that work. Prostitution. There are individuals who are prostitutes. We see them downtown at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. They're usually being trafficked by what we tend to call in our communities a pimp. You know that term? A pimp, right? That's a form of trafficking. It just looks different in different communities. Pornography. A lot of individuals who participate in the pornography are not doing it for fun. They don't enjoy it. They're being forced to do it because they got hired for a modeling job or an acting job. And this is the type of acting that you're doing. Sex tourism. We see a lot of that in Central America. Costa Rica, Aruba, St. Martin. They have systems of sex tourism. Individuals go there. Then this is in our region I'm talking about. There are many in Thailand, in Vietnam, where individuals book tickets and go to hotels that provide them individuals for their sexual pleasures. Then we have the online sexploitation, where we see now we have, you guys know about sexploitation, where they're taking your pictures and sending it back to you and telling you, here's your picture in a compromised position. I'm going to share it to all your contacts and your social media. And if you don't give me money, I'm going to release it tonight. You guys heard about that? Okay, good. That's a form of exploitation, trafficking, force, coercion, and fraud, right? And massage parlors and brothels. We have a lot of them around here, and some of them are male-only salons because what they're doing in there is trafficking, sex trafficking. Labor trafficking, I gave you the example of agricultural labor. We have domestic servitude. We have individuals that get hired to be maids or caretakers in homes, and they're told it's a live-in job. Well, your live-in is sleeping in the closet or sleeping in the garage, but you're expected to clean the house and take care of the children. And you have minimal pay. And a lot of times what they do is they take your documents when you get hired. They ask you, oh, let me get your license or your passport because I need to make copies of it. You never see it. And you're stuck there working, right? Construction industry, we have a lot of that happening in our state where individuals are working on construction projects and they don't get paid. How many of you watch Squid Games? Okay, don't be ashamed. It's a private conversation. Okay, in Squid Games, you remember the guy that was working in the factory and he got mad with his boss because the boss wasn't paying him and he ended up pushing the boss and then killing the boss? Okay, that's because he was being trafficked. That was labor trafficking, right? That was construction, manufacturing, labor trafficking. We had that happening in the textile industry, the fishing industry, and the mining industry. Child trafficking, we have child labor. There are children, and not necessarily in our state, and not so much in the United States, but children are being forced to work in places where adults only work. We have child soldiers, areas that there are civil unrest on our side of the world. We see some of this happening in Haiti right now with all the civil unrest that's going on. The gangs, they're forcing children to get armed and participate in the guerrilla warfare. And then we have the child pornography, which again, forcing kids to perform sex acts and photography, taking pictures of them and sharing it online, organ trafficking, or having children go out and beg in the streets for the family to get money, and then child marriage. Anything opening your eyes? Anything surprising so far? So you guys are human trafficking experts. You knew this stuff already? And you guys said you know nothing? Okay. So organ trafficking, we talked about that, harvesting the organs, and they usually, guess who is the biggest consumer of trafficked organs? Guess which country? The United States. We're the biggest consumer, right? People traffic, they get organs all over the world and they send them to the United States. The same thing with the surrogacy. We are the biggest client for surrogacy exploitation. And then we see a lot in Senegal and the Gambia, a lot of ritual exploitation in Nigeria, where children are being kidnapped and sacrificed for rituals that they feel will give the individual money and wealth. So we have a lot of that happening in those regions. And then we have debt bondage, where you're told, well, we brought you to the United States to work, and you owe us for that. You owe us for the money we gave to your parents. You owe us for your room and board, and we're only paying you $5 a day, right? And your bill is $10,000. When will you ever pay that off? Never. So that's called debt bondage. Okay? So illegal adoption, again, we touched on that earlier. We have refugee and migrant trafficking. You guys hear this on the news all the time. Well, maybe not on the news because you guys say you don't watch the news. But you hear about the refugees coming in, right? The Cubans, the Haitians, the Mexicans, they come across the water, they come in. They're either come on their boats themselves with someone who is bringing them over, or we have them coming in trafficked in the containers that you see on the highway, the big trucks, you see them. I showed you the example of the ones in Miami that happened recently. Then we have individuals that are forced to participate in organized crime. So you're forced to smuggle drugs. You're forced to engage in gang activity because you're part of a trafficking ring, right? And then caregiving, we have individuals who are taking care of another person who is sick, and they're also being exploited in the process of taking care of this person for the family. The family that hired them to take care of the person is exploiting their services, similar to debt labor. So let's see if this one plays. Nope, I started over the presentation. Hold on, give me 1 second. So this one is going to show you a few types of human trafficking that
Over 20.9 million men, women, and children are victims of human trafficking. But do you know what human trafficking actually is?
You can see if I stand there. If I stand here, you can still see.
But not everyone's dreams will come true.
Can I see?
Human traffickers prey on people's
Pay
dreams
attention.
and lure them away for their own benefit.
Put away your phones, guys.
How do they do this? Human trafficking doesn't happen all of a sudden. It's a process. First, traffickers act. This includes recruiting victims, transporting them to the place where they'll be exploited, hiding them from authorities, and receiving victims from other traffickers. So why don't the victims run away or say no? Because traffickers use different means. This includes threatening or forcing victims to do what they want, abducting or deceiving the victims, and abusing power. Sometimes traffickers promise small payments or benefits to get the victim to cooperate. And why are the traffickers doing this? The purpose of trafficking is exploitation. Traffickers take advantage of victims for their own profit or benefit. This is human trafficking. This man's neighbor tells him that he has a great job for him on a very safe construction site and that he'll be paid a lot of money. With more money, he can make his dreams come true. He agrees to take the job. A few days later, the neighbor's friend picks him up and they drive to the construction site. It's a very long way from his home. This man is put to work immediately without any training or protective equipment, without enough to eat or drink, and with very few breaks. After many months, he's only been paid a fraction of what he was promised. He knows he's been tricked, but he doesn't have enough money to get home. This man is a victim of human trafficking. He was recruited by his neighbor and tricked into thinking he was going to work at a safe construction site for fair pay. Instead, he was forced to work long hours in unsafe conditions for almost no money, while others benefited from his exploitation. One day, while looking for jobs online, this woman comes across an opportunity to work in a restaurant in a big city. Her application is successful, and her new employer arranges for her travel there. She is met at the airport and driven to a part of the city that looks nothing like she expected. The car pulls up to a building. The door is shut and locked behind her. She is made to perform sex acts against her will. She is trapped. This woman is a victim of human trafficking. She was transported by a trafficker from the airport to the location of the job. She arrived at the location and realized it was not the restaurant job she was expecting. The traffickers used force to keep her there. She was then exploited for forced sex work. This 14-year-old boy on school break is approached on the street by a woman who looks trustworthy. She tells him that she needs workers at her factory, and she promises him lots of money. He brings her to meet his parents. They are so happy for him. He'll now be able to save money for school. The woman drives him to the next town. They pull up to an old building. There is someone waiting for him. As he is let inside, the nice lady drives off. The factory isn't anything like she described. There are lots of people working, including many children. He works all day, and after just a few hours of sleep, he starts again. He is sad. This isn't what he expected. He misses his family. After weeks, he still hasn't received any salary or been allowed to contact them. He is trapped. This boy is a victim of human trafficking. He was tricked by the woman who recruited him on the street. He was then received by a trafficker when he arrived at the factory and exploited by being forced to sew clothing. For anyone under the age of 18, only the act and purpose matter for it to legally be a case of human trafficking. Understanding that human trafficking doesn't happen all at once, but instead is a process of act, means, and purpose, helps us better identify victims and trafficking trends. People everywhere are dreaming and looking for opportunities to make those dreams come true. Human trafficking is happening all around us. Will you recognize it when you see it? To learn more, visit iomx.org.
What were the 3 words they said? Thank you. So we remember that as the AMP theory. Hold on, slideshow from current slide. That is the AMP theory, AMP model rather. Action, means, and purpose, right? So recruit, transport, transfer, harbor, or receive an individual. You're part of, if you're just receiving them, you're still part of the act. The means, coercion, we talked about the mental and physical use of force, coercion, abduction, fraud, deception, and then exploitation, forced labor, whatever type of trafficking, right? We went through a whole long list of the different types. So that's the purpose. Got it? So who are traffickers? Do you know who they are? Yes. Yes, very good. So that's an example of what a trafficker does, and that's a trafficker. But who are they? Yes. 5 more minutes? That's it? I was told an hour. Okay, so who are traffickers? Pimps, employers, family members, friends or peers or strangers, right? So I thought I had an hour with you guys, and I went into a whole lot of detail. I'm going to skip through some slides, so bear with me, okay? I need you to pay attention. So we have young people who are typically most vulnerable. We have the homeless, youth, runaways, children who are in the foster system. We have individuals who have financial insecurity. So I'm going to cut to the beat of it. As young people, you're in schools. There are children in schools who are also part of the trafficking ring. From my personal experience, we've had children that were in school with us recruiting others to work with their trafficker. So they come to school. They don't come to school all the time. They're in school. They have all the nice outfits and everything. You're like, oh, where you get that from? How you get that? And they'll tell you, oh, my boyfriend has a job and I work for him sometimes, and they recruit you. Beware of that. Okay? A lot of times we want things that our parents can't get for us, and we try to find other means to get them because we think that we know better. And what happens is we put ourselves in a position to be victimized by a trafficker. Where are they looking for you? Social media, online, and dating apps, popular meeting places. How many of you go to the parks? Not many of you. Okay, that's fine. The parks, at schools, they can recruit you in schools, as I shared. Group homes, detention centers, shelters, foster care homes. That's all individuals who don't have legal parents. Now, on social media, there are individuals that follow you. They look at what you're doing. Make sure your social media presence is private. Okay? Talk to your parents too. Sometimes our parents put us in danger. They're posting stuff about us. They're posting where we were because they're so proud of us or what we're doing. And what that does is give them information about you that they wouldn't have had. And then if they're targeting you because they see in the community, they can come to you and be like, oh, I heard, hey, Rebecca, how are you? Congratulations on that award that you got. You're like, how do you know that I got an award? Because they stalked your parents' page. Am I making sense? And then you engage in conversation with them, and they fraudulently present themselves as someone who knows you and cares. And over time, grooming, which I'm trying to get to that slide, is the process that they do. They go in and they come and they build trust by giving you names of people that you should know. And you're like, well, if you know my family, then you probably know me for real, right? And then they give you promises. A lot of times they start with promises to manipulate you. And then when you don't respond, they threaten you, okay? Couple of myths. When someone is trafficked, they're kidnapped and held against their will. No, that's not true. We talked about the mental exploitation. Sometimes they just think that they can't leave. A lot of times they're caught and they're taken to other cities and they don't know where they are. They have no spatial recognition, so they don't want to leave because they're afraid that there's no one to help them. Okay? Traffickers are older men who prey on young girls. That's not true. They can be any age, any gender. They can be your classmates. Only girls are trafficked? That's not true. Boys are trafficked higher than girls up until the age of 13. More boys are trafficked between the ages of 8 and 13 than girls. But girls are consistently trafficked from the age of 8 onward. Okay? Youth who are being trafficked don't go to school. That's not true. They're actively in school because in our county there is a truancy rule, truancy law. So if you have a child and they're not in school, you can get in trouble. Do you think the traffickers want to get in trouble? No. So they make sure the kid that they have in their possession, in their the kids that they have, make sure they go to school, and then they go to school to recruit. Woo! Didn't mean to go that far. Let me skip to the final slide. Any questions? Let me. Okay, good. False job. How many of you are working online safety? Here we go. Keep your personal information private. Set your profile to private always. Never accept a friend request from someone that you don't know. If someone sends you a friend request, try to look at their profile, see what's going on. They may look like they're connected to you. I know you guys don't use Facebook like the older folks do. Facebook is easier to tell, whether or not they've had a profile for long. Usually if the profile is 24, 48 hours old, they're someone who's trying to hack into your life. If you have a personal photo, I know you guys are dating, and you send some personal photos to someone and they're trying to use it in exploitation against you, please, please, please contact an adult. Do not take matters into your own hand. Don't get afraid. As the example I gave you about sexploitation at the beginning, we have where your picture is taken and superimposed with someone else as if you're performing a sex act. You understand what I'm saying? You guys with me? You know what I'm talking about? Okay, they take a picture of you. They put another person in that picture with you to make it look like you're performing a sex act, right? And they try to blackmail you for money. What has been happening is we have youth that have been committing suicide across our nation because instead of them going to an adult, they get afraid because of the threat, okay? So I need you all to be aware of that and speak to an adult. And finally, the last thing I really need you to pay attention to is if something is happening to someone that you think is being trafficked, call 911 always. Don't try to intervene. Call 911. The other thing I need you to remember is the phrase be free. That is a text number. It is 233-733. That is a text hotline for you to use. I know you guys don't like to talk to people. You prefer to text everyone. 233-733. Can you say that for me? One more time. Again. Good. That is the hotline. That is the human trafficking text line. It's 233-733. I use that with the little kids, but y'all too old for that. Okay? 233. Okay, good. Give me 2 types of trafficking before you go, because I know it's time. Good. Give me 2 others. The human trafficking is the umbrella. Give me a type. What were you saying? Labor trafficking. Good. Anybody else? Surrogacy. Very good. Good try. Good. Sex trafficking and what else? Organ trafficking. Good. Anybody else? There were like 20. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yes, forced marriage. Yes, domestic servitude, child labor. Very good. Yes, pornography, child pornography. Awesome. Thank you for participating. Thank you for participating. Thank you for participating. Who else was participating? You're welcome. Yes, I know. Did you go to Parkway? Yes, I did. Yes. I had long, long hair. I cut it all off. Oh, was I supposed to give? Ooh. That's okay. Oh my goodness, I did not realize. So what I need to do. So there's a second session. I'm going to switch my presentation. I'm going to switch my presentation. No, I'm going to switch my presentation to another one. Oh, you are? So we've worked together a couple of times. We've been on the same panels, but I'm not on the, I need to get on the coalition. No, I want to go back to the other one. Good morning.
Only the instructor.
So what I did, I ended up giving 3. I was supposed to give 2 and 2. I need another. I need some more.
This group, right? I got you. You know who you want to take it back to? I'll do the bad. I'll do it.
Good morning, everyone. So I didn't know I was gonna have 2 groups. I thought I only had 1 group. So I made a little boo-boo. So we have gift cards for the ones, at least 2 people who participate in the activity. I'm sure they did it for the other one, right? How many of you know what human trafficking is? 1 person. Nobody knows? Okay. How many of you are familiar with the term? If you don't know what it is, okay, good. Perfect. About 5 of you? Okay, good. So tell me what human trafficking is to you. Thank you. Exporting people? Okay, very good. Anybody else? Yeah. Very good. Very good. You guys know what it is. So good morning again. Thank you for that. I'm Dr. Jonette Brooks George. I am a university professor. I've been an educator for several years, about 15 years. I work as the principal consultant at Unmute Yourself Incorporated. We're an interpersonal violence disruption agency where we focus on advocacy, activism, and awareness in the topics of child sexual assault, human trafficking, domestic violence, gun violence, suicide ideation. So today is one of our awareness activities, right? Where I'm coming in to educate you on what human trafficking is. So how many of you know where our state ranks in the nation? Yes, go ahead. We're 3rd. Good try. We're 3rd. What about our county? Where does our county lie in our state? So Miami, Broward, Palm Beach. Where do we lie? 2nd? Good job. So it's Miami. Well, yeah, we're 3rd. What did I say earlier? I think it's 3rd, yeah. 3rd, sorry. Miami, Palm Beach, Broward, right? And Miami and Orlando tend to fight for 1st sometimes. So this happened in Miami just a few weeks ago. Did you guys hear about the human trafficking in Coral Gables? Okay, you did. What did you hear? You shake your head, you said yes. You said no. You were saying yes, but you meant no. Okay, so I'm not going to show you it for the interest of time because I want to go into some stuff. But long and short of it, they had a van in the community. There were 20 plus individuals that were in the van that were being trafficked. They were Chinese migrants. They were coming in. They were smuggling them into the United States, and then they were going to put them into one of their sex trafficking rings. So it's a combination of smuggling and, of course, ultimately trafficking. And this is happening right in Miami, which is down the street from us. How many of you been to Coral Gables? It's okay. I don't like going down there anyways. They don't know how to drive. So human trafficking, it involves 3 main things: force, fraud, and coercion. What does force mean? Okay, good. So someone making you do something without you wanting to do it. Is it only physical? No. It can be what? Very good. Very good. And fraud, what does fraud mean? Lie, exactly, basically, right? Creating a system of lies to presenting a system of lies to get you to do something that you wouldn't ordinarily do if you knew the truth, right? And then coercion, what's coercion? Somebody say something? Grooming. Yeah, coercion, grooming, very good. Very good. So it's grooming, which is convincing you over time through several means that this is what you want to do, even though you don't want to do it. Make sense? Okay, good. You're really smart. I wonder why. So crime of human trafficking hinges on the exploitation of another person. The whole part of it is if there is any form of exploitation in their relationship, whether it's intimate or it's work related, it's called human trafficking. Understood? If you're dating someone and they're exploiting you, you're being trafficked. If you're working for someone and they're exploiting you, they're not paying you, you're being trafficked. Make sense? Oh, also devices away from me real quick because we don't have much time together. So trafficking victims can be any age, race, gender, socioeconomic status. Doesn't matter if you live in Weston or you live in Wilton Manors or you live in Lauderhill. You can be trafficked. No one cares. Once you are a vulnerable body in a situation, in a vulnerable situation, they can take advantage of you. You are susceptible to being trafficked. Okay? Doesn't matter your immigration status. Although individuals who have challenged immigration status tend to be at higher risk for trafficking. So the tools are force, coercion, and fraud. I just mentioned that to you. And these are the types of trafficking. I'm going to go into them on the other slides. Sex trafficking, labor trafficking, child trafficking, organ trafficking, surrogacy exploitation, forced marriage, ritual exploitation, debt bondage, illegal adoption, refugee and migrant smuggling, exploitative criminal activities, and exploitative caregiving. These are all different types of trafficking. So that's 12. And then we break them down. So sex trafficking is commercial sex exploitation. They bring you in, whether you're an escort or you're being pimped on the street. That is a form of commercial sex act. So in our community, we call it pimping, right? He's a pimp, he got some girls, that's trafficking. Just so you know, pimping is not cute, you're a trafficker, okay? Prostitution, individuals who are prostitutes are typically not, they don't want to do that, that's not what they choose to do, and it's not because they're desperate for work, they're being forced into it, okay? Pornography industry, it's hinged on individuals who were coerced and fraudulently brought in most of the time to do the work. They were being hired for modeling, they were being hired for acting, and when they come in to do the work, they flew from Florida all the way to California, no family, no friends. They come in to do the work and they're forced into performing pornography. And where are they going to go, right? Sex tourism, there are countries, Costa Rica, Aruba, St. Martin, just to name a few on this side of the world, Thailand, Vietnam, and other countries. They have a system of sex tourism. There are particular hotels you go to. In those hotels, you have menus, options to choose from for what type of girl you want to have sent up to your room. Okay, that's sex tourism. Online and sexual exploitation, we have many types of it. The most popular one that we're seeing now is sexploitation. Do you guys know what that is? Have you heard of the fact that people's on Instagram, individuals' pictures are being taken and they're being edited and superimposed with someone else looking like they're performing sex acts and then sent back to them and threatened that if you don't give them money, they're going to expose it to all your followers? Have you heard about that? Okay, it's happening. And it's happening quite often. And on another side, I talk about it again and I say, you need to make sure that if this happens to you, you get an adult and you get the cops involved. Yes, you might have put a picture out there that was not appropriate, right? You made a mistake, but do not respond to that person and do not feel that they're going to send it off and the end of your life. Because what we see happening is many children are committing suicide across our nation because of this type of trafficking behavior, okay? Because they're trying to get money out of you. And you get afraid and you're like, what, my reputation is going to get ruined, and then you kill yourself. Massage parlors and brothels. Have you ever seen massage parlors on the side of the road that say men only? Pay attention when you drive past some of them in your communities. Those are trafficking, typically trafficking institutions, where if you go in and you ask for a massage, they might tell you, no, we don't have any appointments for you as a woman, and then you send a guy in, they always find appointments for them. So we have a lot of that in our county, unfortunately. Domestic servitude, when you come in to do a job as a maid or a caretaker in the home, you come in and work with them. I was like, time already? No, you're fine. They take your documents. They come in and say, okay, I need your documents to scan for records because I'm paying you as an employee. And what they do is they keep your documents and never give it to you. They don't pay you much money. They force you to work in the home. Chances are your live-in job is you staying in the garage or staying in a closet to sleep while you have to take care of their family members. Agricultural labor. How many of you been to Fort Myers or Naples? Okay, that's fine. It's good, one of you. On the way there, there's a city called Immokalee. You usually see animals and stuff. You can see some animals. That's a farm country in South Florida. And over there, we find a lot of agricultural labor. The example I usually give is, you know the big school bus that we have? They gut it and they only keep the driver's seat. And they expect the workers to fill one bus with watermelons for $80. How many days do you think it's going to take you to fill that bus with watermelons? The school bus, fill it with watermelons. You're picking them. There's no mechanism, no technology, just you picking them out, watermelons, walking over and putting them neatly in the bus. How long will it take you to fill one bus, the size of a school bus, from the back to the front with watermelons? Some people close to a week. The shortest is 3 days, right? And that's you working all day long. That's one, and usually it's more than one person that gets it done in 3 days. So that's $80. How can you survive off of $80? Can you survive? And what these jobs tell you is, oh, we give you room and board along with the work. Room and board for them is a 4-wall room, no bed, no bathroom, nothing, and they don't provide you food. Okay? That's exploitation. That's a form of agricultural labor trafficking. Construction, we see that in the construction industry and the manufacturing industry. Manufacturing, not so much in the US. Textile and garment, not so much in the US. That's overseas. Construction, we see a lot of it here in South Florida. How many of you watch Squid Games? It's okay, it's just us. Nobody has to know. Okay, good. In Squid Games, remember the guy was working in a factory and he got really pissed off with his boss and he pushed him and he ended up cutting his hand and he ended up killing the boss and he ran away? Okay, that's an example of manufacturing labor trafficking in that movie. We see the example of it right there, okay? Child trafficking, we have child labor. Some places we have children forced to do work. We have children forced to participate in guerrilla warfare. We see that in Haiti right now. Kids are being taken out of homes and given guns to go and fight in the Civil War. We have child pornography, children being forced to perform sex acts and be photographed, and it's being sold. Organ trafficking, we see a lot of organ trafficking happening in children and in adults. Guess who is the biggest customer for organ trafficking? Guess which country is the biggest customer? They may be the biggest producer, but they're not. They're not the biggest producer of them. But the biggest customer who buys the harvested organs? The US, very good. Who said that? Very good. The United States. Because to be on an organ donor list is a very long process, right? So it's easier and cheaper to get organs shipped from overseas that they stole from someone. Child begging, they force children to go out and beg on the sides of the streets for money for the family. Child marriage, they force little children to get married to older individuals because they promise to give their family some money, right? We have organ harvest, we have surrogacy exploitation. That is when women who are being already forced into sex trafficking tend to get pregnant and they keep their child. But what happens is once the child is born, the child is taken away and sent over here to the United States for individuals who want to adopt children and not go through our long and cumbersome foster care system. Forced marriage, I touched on that before. Ritual exploitation, we see this in the Senegal and the Gambia and in Nigeria where people kidnap other people's kids and sacrifice them. Blood sacrifices with these kids because of their ritual and religious belief that if they do this, they will amass wealth. Their business will be successful. Whatever they want to do, and most times it's pertaining to greed, will be successful. So they're kidnapping children and killing them for these. Debt bondage, when you're invited for a job from another country here and they pay for your airfare, they pay for your hotel, They probably give you some money for your parents, even depending on the country that you're in. And when you get here, you have a bill already of $10,000, $15,000, and you're making $5 a day. When are you going to pay that bill off? Never. Never, because you still got to eat out of that $5, right? So you never get to pay that bill off. That's debt bondage. So they keep you in debt so that you're stuck with them. You got to pay off your debt. Illegal adoption, which is, again, we touched on that. I'm going to skip that and go to the video. So this is a quick video. I'm going to jump out of the presentation to do it, because for some reason it's not running in the presentation. Enable content. That's why it wasn't working.
Over 20.9 million men.
Here we go again.
Over 20.9 million men, women, and children are victims of human trafficking. But do you know what human trafficking actually is? In a small sleepy town, people are dreaming. But not everyone's dreams will come true. Human traffickers prey on people's dreams and lure them away for their own benefit. How do they do this? Human trafficking doesn't happen all of a sudden. It's a process. First, traffickers act. This includes recruiting victims, transporting them to the place where they'll be exploited, hiding them from authorities, and receiving victims from other traffickers. So why don't the victims run away or say no? Because traffickers use different means. This includes threatening or forcing victims to do what they want, abducting or deceiving the victims and abusing power. Sometimes traffickers promise small payments or benefits to get the victim to cooperate. And why are the traffickers doing this? The purpose of trafficking is exploitation. Traffickers take advantage of victims for their own profit or benefit. This is human trafficking. This man's neighbor tells him that he has a great job for him on a very safe construction site and that he'll be paid a lot of money. With more money, he can make his dreams come true. He agrees to take the job. A few days later, the neighbor's friend picks him up and they drive to the construction site. It's a very long way from his home. This man is put to work immediately without any training or protective equipment, without enough to eat or drink, and with very few breaks. After many months, he's only been paid a fraction of what he was promised. He knows he's been tricked, but he doesn't have enough money to get home. This man is a victim of human trafficking. He was recruited by his neighbor and tricked into thinking he was going to work at a safe construction site for fair pay. Instead, he was forced to work long hours in unsafe conditions for almost no money, while others benefited from his exploitation. One day, while looking for jobs online, this woman comes across an opportunity to work in a restaurant in a big city. Her application is successful, and her new employer arranges for her travel there. She is met at the airport and driven to a part of the city that looks nothing like she expected. The car pulls up to a building. The door is shut and locked behind her. She is made to perform sex acts against her will. She is trapped. This woman is a victim of human trafficking. She was transported by a trafficker from the airport to the location of the job. When she arrived at the location and realized it was not the restaurant job she was expecting, the traffickers used force to keep her there. She was then exploited for forced sex work. This 14-year-old boy on school break is approached on the street by a woman who looks trustworthy. She tells him that she needs workers at her factory, and she promises him lots of money. He brings her to meet his parents. They are so happy for him. He'll now be able to save money for school. The woman drives him to the next town. They pull up to an old building. There is someone waiting for him. As he is led inside, the nice lady drives off. The factory isn't anything like she described. There are lots of people working, including many children. He works all day, and after just a few hours of sleep, he starts again. He is sad. This isn't what he expected. He misses his family. After weeks, he still hasn't received any salary or been allowed to contact them. He is trapped. This boy is a victim of human trafficking. He was tricked by the woman who recruited him on the street. He was then received by a trafficker when he arrived at the factory and exploited by being forced to sew clothing. For anyone under the age of 18, only the act and purpose matter for it to legally be a case of human trafficking. Understanding that human trafficking doesn't happen all at once, but instead is a process of act, means, and purpose, helps us better identify victims and trafficking trends.
Okay, good. So what are the 3 words we just heard? I got 1 student in my class. Woo. Thank you for that. Acts, means, and purpose. And when it comes to minors, which 2 do we need only for it to be still considered trafficking? Acts and purpose, right? Those are the only 2 that need to be in place. So I'm going to go quickly. Who are traffickers? Pimps. A romantic partner, a boyfriend that says, okay, I love you, but you're going to have to do things with my friends, and that's part of showing me you love me, right? That's trafficking because you're being forced and coerced to do something that you don't want to do, okay? Pimps, we call them pimps. We think it's cute and fun to be a pimp. It's not. You're a trafficker. Employers or other professionals, we just saw in the video that people who employ you can traffic you because they pretend to want to pay you and then they don't do it. Family members can traffic you. Peers can be traffickers too. Strangers and mutual friends. We have children, individuals who are most vulnerable. Runaways, homeless children, foster kids, individuals who have financial insecurity issues, individuals who grew up in homes where there's domestic violence. These individuals are more susceptible to being trafficked because they tend to run away. They tend to look outside of the family for help. There are kids in your schools that are here. I've part of my work, we've worked with kids in school who come to school with all the wonderful things. They come to school off and on. They have the latest phone, the latest outfits, and they come to school to recruit others. Those who are like, oh, how you get that outfit? How you get the latest phone? Oh, my boyfriend, he has this thing. I work with him at night and I get money and I get stuff from him. You want to come? You can come and join me. And what they're doing is they're recruiting you to be trafficked like they are, okay? Trafficked kids go to school. We're going to talk about it. Where do they find you? They find you on social media. Your social media and your parents' social media can make you vulnerable. Some of our parents like to post stuff about their kids and post it online, and they post it public. And then you have your social media also, and someone's looking at you because they see you at the park fairly often, and they go and figure out who they heard someone calling your name. They find you online, and then they find your parent posts, oh, you got some award the other day, and y'all had a party at Rapids or whatever, and then he comes and sees you or she sees you in the park and brings a whole conversation about, oh, I saw you at Rapids with your mom and your auntie and so, congratulations on that award. And you're like, how do you know my family? I don't know you like that. But you're still having conversation with them. And what they do is they use that conversation to start the process of grooming, okay? So be careful, be mindful. They groom you, they build trust, then they manipulate you, they make promises, and then they don't fulfill the promises, they manipulate you, they build your trust, and then they turn around and they threaten you, and they control you. So quick myths. When someone is trafficked, they're kidnapped and held against their will. No, that doesn't happen all the time. That happens in some cases, but we talked about mental control, right? Mental force. Sometimes you feel that you can't leave because you don't know the community that you're in, and you also feel like there's no one else in your household that loves you, no one in your family that loves you. That was not 5 minutes.
Yeah, actually, I'm trying to give you guys precedence. Lunch has started, and I can't release you guys all at once, so I wanted to select this room first. Do you want me to move on to another room?
Yes.
Ooh, okay.
I just got like 2 more minutes with them.
Okay. All right, I'll try this side.
Traffickers are older men who, I'm sorry guys, I'm making you starve. Oh, you sucking your teeth? That was a real long suck teeth. Then you're going to stay here longer because of that. So traffickers are older men who prey on girls. No, they're not. They can be any age, any gender, any race. They can be your friends in school, okay? They don't all come in a white van, okay? only girls are sex trafficked. That is not true. Boys are trafficked more than girls between the age of 13. Girls are trafficked for a longer period of time, but boys are more, they're trafficked at a higher rate between the ages of 8 and 13. Trafficking youths don't go to school. That's not true. In our county, we have the rule of truancy. If someone sees you outside, an adult outside with a kid that doesn't go to school, they can get in trouble. Do you think the traffickers want heat? No, they don't. They're going to send you to school. They may not go to school often, but they send the kids to school, and they come to school with the sole purpose of recruiting other kids for the trafficking ring. Traffickers target victims that they don't know. That's not true. They seek you out. They tend to know you. You may not know them, but they took the time to know you. That makes the grooming process easier. Undocumented individuals are the only ones. Nope. Anyone can be victim of forced labor. You're looking for a job. You think the job looks great on Indeed. You go to the job. You find out it's not, like the examples we used. Anyone can be susceptible to that. It doesn't occur in legal business settings. That's not true. It happens all the time. It happens in many legal institutions here in South Florida that are restaurants. We see it quite often. And we talked about the massage parlors. Those are real organizations with all the paperwork done to be a corporation in the state. So I'm going to go forward quickly, skip forward a few slides. And online safety. Again, make sure information is private. Whether information about your school, where you live, your community, don't put that on the internet. Please don't. How many of you fill out, well, y'all not on Facebook like that. That's a Facebook thing, right? But they tell you to fill out the categories or how many places you've been or how many things you've done or how many tattoos you have, whatever you have. If you have a tattoo, you get a point, so forth and so forth. Don't do those. That's giving people information to use to create conversation. Set your profile to private. Do not accept a friend request from anyone you don't know. Doesn't matter if it looks like they have friends that you have. Facebook, again, is easier for you to determine how long their profile has been open. I don't really know that you can do that easy on Instagram, but don't do that. If you share a personal photo, we talked about the sexploitation at the beginning. I want to come back to it again and remind you, if for what reason you sent a photo out of you half naked, bikini, whatever it was, and a person takes it and creates something else with it that you know for a fact you didn't do, do not fall prey to any threat of them posting it online if you don't give them any money. Call the nearest adult, call 911, okay? Call the cops, get them involved, because that is an act of sexploitation. I don't think I said it to you guys. Did I say it to you that kids across the United States are committing suicide? Did I say that earlier? Okay, good. I'm just making sure I said it. So please don't. Make sure you share with an adult. If you're going to meet anyone that you met online in public, make sure people know where you're going. Put your location on. Make sure someone comes with you. Do your research about job offers. Make sure they're legit. The company offered you a job. Go look up the company, see how long they've been in place. Do Sunbiz. Do your research before you jump at the first job that you see, especially if it's in the entertainment industry. Many of us want to sing and perform and model. That's the industry where they tend to do the easiest. That's the easiest industry for them to find you and exploit you. Okay? The last thing I want you to pay attention to is if for any reason you feel that someone is being trafficked or someone is trying to traffic you, always, always, always call 911 first. If someone is being trafficked, don't intervene, call 911. If you feel that you don't want to call 911 because most of you don't like to call, all y'all communicate through text, right? You text your mama, you text everybody. You can text 233-733. Say that for me, please. 233-733. One more time. 233-733. That is I need you to remember that. 233-733. I do that with little kids. You guys are older. But that is the Be Free Text Help Hotline. If you feel that you're in a dangerous situation or someone else might be, that's the person you text. You don't have to call them. You text them. You text help. They will give you all the information that you need to fix the situation that you're in. Okay? So, any questions? Okay, I have a question. Give me 2 types of human trafficking. 2 examples. Adults, you can't participate. Yes, go ahead. Okay, so that is what it does. I need you to give me types. So I listed 12 types of trafficking. 12 different forms of human trafficking. Ways people are trafficked. Uh-huh. And which one? Look, human trafficking is the umbrella. So sex trafficking is one of them. Debt bondage, very good. Anybody else? Organ trafficking, good. So that would be industry exploitation, which would be, I can't think right now, but yes, that's one of them. Yes, illegal adoption. Anybody else? Nobody else? Sorry? He said 2. I want other people to say 2. Forced marriage, very good. Anybody else? Y'all don't want the gift cards. That's not my fault. I got 2 gift cards. Okay, good. So you guys remember some of them. So, who do you call or who do you text? It's on the board, so that's easy. You remembered it? Okay, good. Very good. Okay. Any questions? No questions? Okay, good. So you guys, I guess when they come back and get you for lunch, you can break for lunch.
I just want to mention if anyone is here from Harmony Development Center, please see me before you go out.
Thank you for participating. You're welcome. Thank you for participating. You're over here grumbling. You can get one. The 2 of you all spoke the most. Okay, you can come get them now.
It's 12:05.
Yeah, they could go.
You gave out all your cards?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, guys. Follow me, single fine line. Keep it singular, okay? Keep the line singular. Keep the line singular, please. If you're Harmony, please see your instructor in the front.
Right here.
All right, guys.